There you go.
Wow. That's new.
I know, there's a couple things. Good evening, guys. It's Tuesday, May 25th. It's 5:05. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being conducted remotely and is being recorded, and the recording can be found on Lunenburg Access on the YouTube channel within 48 hours. My name is Dave McDonald. I'm the chairman of the Sewer Commission. I'll do a roll call to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. We also, please respond by the affirmative. First of all, we just want to welcome Mike. We want to welcome Mike Nault back. Mike, welcome to the Sewer Commission. Congratulations on your victory on Saturday. It's a pleasure to have you back.
It was my campaign slogan.
That's okay. We'll go over that later. Brett.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Rob.
Yes.
Barbara.
Yes.
Jane, I know you're here. You don't like to talk, but I can see your eyes. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance of the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. The order, which can be found posted on the town website on the COVID-19 Information Center page, accesses through the town manager's webpage, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so as long as there's reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along in deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature a public comment. For the Sewer Commission, we conveyed a video conference via the app, Zoom app, posted on the town website, identifying how the public may join. Before we start, I'd like to just do announcements. Bob, what do you have?
Just the elections that were held on the 15th, and we've got Dave that was elected to a 3-year term, and Mike Nault is back for a 1-year term. Just wanted to make that clear. Thank you very much, Mike and Dave, both of you, for coming on and serving, giving your time up to the town.
Thank you, Lunenburg.
Thank you, Bob.
Also, just what Dave was mentioning earlier, just there have been changes to the COVID restrictions. Masks are changing as of the 29th to only unvaccinated school, healthcare, or public transport situations. So we've got that happening as of the 29th, and as of the 15th, no more fully remote meetings will be allowed. I guess they will require a quorum of members to meet in person. So those are just the 2 things that have happened.
You know, there are some things that Governor Baker just talked about tonight. As far as we're concerned, our next meeting will be still on the Zoom app.
Right.
Which is
June 8th.
June 8th. So hopefully by then we'll have a better idea of exactly what we're doing. Also, going back to announcements, I want to thank everybody in Lunenburg who came out and voted. We almost had 9% of the citizens of town come and vote. So again, from all of us, thank you for that. Also like to thank all the members of the boards who came out and voted, and they probably passed us at the beginning. And Mike, I know you had your sign out there. If you want to say what your one sign said, feel free.
Oh, the one sign?
Yeah.
A vote for me equals a flush for you.
Now, that sign probably got you elected to the Sewer Commission, so congratulations on that.
It might have lost me the 2 votes that I would have been ahead of you in popular vote.
Last year, it was a very tough year, as we know, for this board and for actually everybody with COVID. I just want to thank everybody who stepped up last year from our old commission. And I just want to say that today starts a new breath of fresh air for all of us. With that, we have to do a election of officers as we do every year. And I just want to say that I was proud to be the chair last year, and I hope that we all had a good year with it. We made a lot of changes, and I hope we're going to make a lot more changes. So in regards to that, I have no problem giving up the chairmanship if somebody wants to do it. What I tried to do last year with you guys is try to teach you the business, try to have you learn from yourselves. Being on a commission is more than just talking. It's becoming a team. It's become to count on each other. It's become to a point where any business, you want to have respect for one another. And I think we showed that last year for the most part. And I want to continue doing that as far as working with this board. And I'm very proud to be working with each and every one of you this year. But with that, I would take a motion for anybody who wants to be a chair. So if you want to be the chair, you just mention it, or whoever you want to be the chair.
I'd like to nominate Dave McDonald.
I'll second that.
I'll third that.
I don't think you guys were listening.
Thanks,
So,
Mike.
any discussion? Seeing none, I need a roll call vote. We're going to go across the screen as we usually do. We'll start with John Reynolds. John,
Yes.
Mike Knoll,
Yes.
Rob Oliver, hi, Rob. Brett Ramson,
Yes.
and Mike B.D.
Yes.
And I'll abstain from the vote. Now we're looking for nominations for the vice chair. And again, it could be anybody.
It is currently John Reynolds, or has been.
It's a very important job. If for some reason I can't be there, then the vice chair takes over. And I mean, I would like to put a motion out there to nominate John again and maybe have a full year under our belt.
I'll second that.
Discussion. John, this is where you jump in and say, I would be honored to,
So said.
John, any comments?
No, just, I haven't been, real consistent about attending the meetings for the last several months. I think that's going to start changing. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about why on the air, but, as long as you're willing to put up with that for a couple more months, I'm fine taking that on.
John, I don't think you understand how much respect this board has for you and understands what you went through. So from myself, it would be an honor if you stayed and worked with us, and we will work through your problems together. So you're not alone, is what I'm trying to say. So with that, I'm looking for a roll call vote, and that would start again with Mike. No.
Yay.
Brett.
Aye.
Mikey D.
Aye.
And an aye for myself. John.
Yes.
Thanks, John.
Now we're looking for a clerk. The clerk would be solely symbol. You don't have to take notes because we got Jane to do that. But the clerk should looks good on a resume. It is an important position because you would be third in command. If I can't make it or some reason I have to step down, then John would be taken over, and that clerk would fill that position. So it's not just a beauty contest, it is responsibility. So I'm looking for a motion for a clerk.
It is currently Brett.
I'll do it again.
Okay, so any other nominations?
Well, I'll nominate Brett.
Okay, seeing no others, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this?
Well, this is where I step in and say I'm honored to take the position.
There you go. After,
I had to do it.
that was great. Okay, looking for a roll
All
call.
right,
vote.
time for me to leave.
Yeah, you're at your position. Looking for a roll call vote on Brett for secretary. John,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
the other Mike,
Aye.
and Brett.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, and an aye for myself is unanimous. Congratulations, guys. We have the new sewer commission for 2000. What year is this? 2021 to 2022. Okay, next subject that we're going to be talking about would be the Fitchburg City ordinance. I know we got an update on that like 10 minutes ago, Barb. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did not send it to everyone. It was the listing council has finally given us his concerns with our proposed revision to the sewer regs. Mike Nault, not sure how much you've been paying attention to all of our sewer commission business before the election, but Fitchburg changed their chapter 147, which we are tied to per the IMA. So they had a massive change, mostly to deal with treatment and industrial uses, but it required us to go through and update our regs to match or even be more restrictive, I guess, than the Fitchburg regs. So we've been in that process this spring. And we just got it back from council about an hour ago. So I've got to go through it. I can send it to everyone, but it's again, just looking at either terms that were used by Fitchburg that we don't have incorporated into our regs, or just different items. I will send you out that email. But anyway, what I would propose doing is just going through it, trying to address it, talk with council if there's any confusion or clarifications, and just send it directly to Fitchburg because they've been very anxious to get it.
I think, again, I got an opportunity to take a quick look at it. I didn't see much in there, but I understand what you want to do. But Rob, if you could just take a look at it real quick. I think your name's mentioned in there a couple of times just for references, but I just want to thank John and Brett for sitting there and going through those regulations. It's a matter now of, if you remember, Brett, we kind of expanded on it a little bit. And John, we took a lot of your notes, so I don't think we're that far off base, Barb, but hopefully we wrap this up. But please send an email to the Fitchburg guy and let him know that it's coming.
Say that again, that very last part.
If you could send an email to the Fitchburg representative from the sewer and just let them know that, it is coming. Okay. Anything else on that? Any questions on the sewer guidance from anybody?
Hey, Barb, was it really just terminology or anything else that he was concerned? Because I know when I was going through and comparing it, they are a treatment. They treat sewage, we don't. That seemed to be the biggest difference in some of the terminology. Just didn't apply to us, but
right. And that's what happened is we had gone through, I had worked with Dave and Brett on, getting the sections that had been updated over to ours, but then when you go through them, some of it is not applicable to us because it's written for Fitchburg. So the first couple is the term categorical industrial user is included in the ordinance, but not incorporated into yours. You added the new definition for existing source, but not deleted the old. So it's all that kind of things. It's just corrections to make it consistent and basically be for Lunenburg and not Fitchburg's regs.
okay.
You know
I'll
what?
send it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, let Barb send it out. John or Brett, do you guys have any questions? Just send them to Barbara direct so she can make a note of them. I think you're going to be happy with what you saw. I know I am. It's not that bad at all. So, all right, policy changes. Bob, you all set on the sewer ordinance? Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to, I don't know why it's not pre-filling here.
That's all right.
Okay.
Before we start that, Barb, I just want everyone to know this year we have some different avenues we want to take a look at as far as our rules and regs and what we can do to increase business and what we can do to help our customers. And I think everyone's recommendations on the next following categories will be a great thing. So I think everyone has a list of the policy changes. Everybody have that from your package. And we'll just go through them one by one and we'll let Barb start. And Rob, I think we're going to need your assistance on some of these as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so because when we have to change the regs, we have to go through the public hearing process in order to have the regulations be accepted in the eyes of the state, basically, or whomever. So while we're doing this with the Fitchburg changes, it's time to look at policies that have been discussed to be changed or reviewed and make sure we get those in there at the same time. So the first one I have is the prorating of the bills. This was the issues with basically the final, not the final reads, but the new owners that come in, when someone sells their house, usually we are given a request for a final read, which is the water use up until the time of either the request or the closing. So we produce that. It's got minimum charge also, so it's never less than 107 for the billing period. But when the new owner comes in, they are billed for the portion of the quarter that they owned the property. But way back in 2010, it was decided by the commission that there would be no prorating. They would be billed the minimum charge. And that's currently at 107. And I think a couple of years ago now, a gentleman and couple had come forward and didn't think that was fair, and the commission wanted to discuss it. So I figure here is an opportunity if we wanted to make changes to that policy.
Barb, hold on one second. Any questions on that, guys, while we're here? Just
Yeah, I do. I just want to clarify. So someone closes on week 10 of a quarter. They have paid the minimum amount. And then if a new owner buys the house on week 11, they have to pay for that whole quarter, the minimum charge.
right now, that's the
Yeah.
policy.
Okay. I've read these regs, bylaws several times. Somehow I missed that one. I don't think that's really fair. So,
I think that's why it's on the list that we want.
Right.
It's,
right. So anyway, that's just my thought.
But prorating something, and Rob might have some experience on this with gardening. If you have 12 weeks in a quarter, and a person moves out on 10 weeks, that person will be responsible for 10 weeks, and the new person will be responsible for 2. And it's the same thing like when I moved from Fitchburg to here. Rob, is that kind of how it's done in gardening too?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't, it never came up. I don't know how Gardner did it. I'll just weigh in. My opinion on this is, I think changing it is fair. It doesn't seem to be equitable to have, someone who owns a property for 2 weeks pay the entire minimum charge. So I think it's definitely worth pursuing, in all fairness to owners, to do that.
Okay. Anybody else wants to chime in? Barb, I know see
I would just like to put in my own recommendation that it would be prorated monthly, not weekly, because how many weeks are in a month? It depends on the month. It would just be easier to say someone's paid their final read up through week 10 for their usage in a quarter, but that new owner would pay 1 month's worth of the minimum charge if there's no water usage. So whatever 107 divided by 3 is. So I just figured that out, 36 or something. I just think it's easier than trying to go daily or weekly.
Would that be easier on your end with paperwork wise?
Well, no prorations is the easiest. And the reason I think the prior commission did it was because there is still that administrative setup when there is a new account. So that's why there's always a minimum charge. And like I say, currently 107. So in the instance where someone comes in on the 15th of the month, they would pay the 36. And that's just as easy, but to try to go weekly or daily, that's when it gets a little.
Well, I don't think anyone's saying daily, but I mean, weekly, I would go for, and what you're just saying, let's write it up and see, and we'll vote on it when it's ready to go. I mean, I totally agree. We got to change it. I don't think it's right at all. Especially if you buy the house at the last day of the month and you get charged twice. It's just not right. So any other questions on comments on this?
I'd like to say that I don't see why monthly wouldn't be, the acceptable.
Yeah.
It's then it just becomes easy math for Bob to.
Okay. Michael, what do you think?
I agree with Mike.
Okay. Is that okay, Bob?
Yep. Nope, that's fine. I will rework that section of the regs and have a new page for you the next time.
Okay, next one, which is a kind of a big one. Oh, by the way, the next one, I was holding signs Saturday, and a person stopped me and wanted, and who recognized me as the commissioner of the sewer, and said that her mother is 94 years old, and I think might have been the same lady who wrote us a letter that started all this. And I assure her that the board is going to look at it and work it out one way or the other. So this is a well policy that if your house is on well, and Barbie, I'll let you do the detail explaining, but we have to look at this. Barb?
Yep, on the well policy, the current policy is the sewer commission is empowered to establish a flat rate that would be equitable with other similar users in cases where properties do not have metered water records available. And for as long as I've been around, the flat rate has been set to the usage amount of 1,833 cubic feet, which at today's rates is equal to 231.87 per quarter. We've had some discussion on it already. We are actually lower than Fitchburg charges, and Tingsboro, I think, as well. Rob had weighed in just to say that it is possible or recommended to put a second meter on a well if they feel inclined to not pay for the flat rate. They could have an option to install the second meter, and so we'd have a more accurate knowledge of the usage.
Okay, there was one item that when we were on the board before, Mike, that we looked at hardship cases. I don't know if you remember that. If somebody can't afford it, we would try to work out something. In this case, I think we're looking for something that's a policy for, and how many houses are on a well? 10? We have
9.
we're talking 9 houses. But one of them we know, like I said, I met her on Saturday. She was 94 years old. And, what can we do to help? So I'm looking for suggestions from anybody, and we'll start with John. What would you do, John?
Sure, absolutely. I would love to help any elderly that needs help. It's just difficult. It's difficult to. This is a tough one because you can have a well user that is using, an awful lot of water going to the sewer system, and another one who's not. So how do you? I'm just not sure how you balance that. Do I want to help? Absolutely, but
I think the pump or the meter idea is a great idea. I think we should.
Well, that a meter is going to cost, well, today's prices, what, 750, 800? I mean, that's a hardship too.
And maybe that's what I'm saying is maybe we can look at each one, there's 9 of them, and see what we can do to help some of the people. I mean, and I don't think everyone who got a well is not 94 years old who can't afford it. But in some cases during COVID and everything, I don't think we have a problem trying to help people with this, or maybe trying to get them a deal on a pump or something. Maybe we can work out something with the water department. I mean, I'm just throwing things out there. I just think that, you have a person who's 94 and she's getting killed on sewer, and it's not really, I don't think she's using that much sewer. But then again,
Right.
she could be doing laundry too. I mean, I don't know.
So if I understand this right, is she's being billed the minimum charge,
There's just one flat rate.
so flat rate. But is it the minimum or it's just one?
No, our minimum
It's the
charge
two-
equals
it's the
800.
So like the 231.87, that's what, okay.
That's what the usage.
I guess, you say there's only like 10 people on, but how many 90-year-olds, or over 60, let's say, that are on sewer. And it just, to me, sometimes that opens a can of worms of, well, wait a minute, like, yeah, I'm getting punished because I don't have a well. Like, I'm not, I'd like to see if, something come out of it, but I don't know I don't know what the solution would be. You know, that's the, you know, the meter seems like the smartest thing, but then again, like John said, there's a cost for that. So,
Well, why don't we get a cost for the meters anyways? The other question would be, do we make them mandatory on all the houses? That would be the other question I would have. So if you had 9 people on wells, do we say, okay, starting July 1st, you're gonna have to put a meter in so we can meter it,
well, or continue paying the way you are.
or continue paying the way you are?
Yeah.
I don't have a
Those
problem
meters.
moving forward, making it a requirement for wells to have a meter. I don't know if I want to retroactively ask everyone to put a meter on.
Well, I mean, I think if this lady has a hardship, she would definitely want a meter. Wouldn't you think? Or pay it back?
I would think so.
And the person who has 5 kids using water all the time, I wouldn't want a meter. You know?
All right.
So I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but if you have a need, I think you would be wanting to put the meter there. So I
Right.
think our policy should be something like, you know, if you're on a well and you want to control your bill better, put a meter on. And we'll have an accurate, and your bill could go lower. If you know you're spending more than a minimum, I don't think we would require you to have it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
I mean,
that's the way I'm thinking.
That seems to me to be the most equitable
Yeah.
solution.
So Brett, what do you think?
Well, I've been thinking meter is the right way to go from the start. I feel bad for this 94-year-old lady. Wish we could do more for her. Just I don't see a fair way to do it other than suggest a meter or offer that as an option.
Well, I think thank you, Brett. I think we ought to just get a price of a meter, what they would cost, and go from there as well. And like I said, maybe we can get a deal. Michael, what do you think?
I agree. I think the meter is the way to go. Now you're talking about putting a meter on each house, correct?
Well, that's part of
No.
the question. I would say no. I would say that if you're happy with the minimum that you're paying, that's
Right.
fine. But if you're 94 years old and you're paying $200 and you know you're not using it anywhere near that water, I would say let's meter it and help her out.
Okay. Yeah, I think we look into the meter. I don't know if there's any way we can help her with the payments for that, or if there's what the cost would be for that. But yeah, I think we look into the cost.
Yeah, I would say let's go with the cost first and go from there.
Yep.
And then offer it to all 9 people, Barb, and let them decide.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
just estimate with the whole second meter we've been doing with the irrigation that it's about 1,000 between the plumber and the hardware.
Okay, but let's get some hard numbers for sure. Who do we use for a plumber?
We-
We don't use a plumber.
We don't use anybody.
It's on the homeowner.
Maybe we can recommend someone to them. Rob, what do you
Not
think?
supposed to do that.
I would stay away from recommending people,
Yeah.
A.
Well, the minute I said it, I'm going like, oops, but it's already out there.
And we can, I mean, maybe Barb, we can talk to Fran to see maybe what he would suggest. You know, there might be other options, and I don't want to make more work for you, Barb, but we maybe can consider other things where if this is just a single user, we, rather than rely on the water department to get a meter read on a radio meter, go kind of old school. I don't know. I'm just trying to think outside the box to not have to, you know, invest $1,000 to save $100 a quarter. I think that's kind of defeating the purpose for this resident. So maybe we just have to think about it and talk to Fran and see if he has any suggestions. I know what I'm thinking, but I think it makes more work for you, Barb.
Don't do that.
I know, I'm trying not to. Although you're gonna have help soon, so.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but you know how quickly those hours are gonna fill up.
Wah. Let's keep this on the burner. I think we have a direction we want to go. So let's not put this to the side. The other thing was, Rob, I got a complaint on Whalum Road. You know, you're ripping up the road there. Is that correct?
Yes.
So someone asked me, how come the sewer is not in a straight line? Like, and you know, it's kind of funny because I drove the other day, I'm going like, wow, that person's right. This is not in a straight line.
I didn't put it in, I didn't design it.
I just thought it was, you know, I said to the person who told me on election day, I said, you know, I will look at that. And I drove down and well, I go, wow, this is choo, choo, choo. But I thought it was a funny question. They weren't complaining, they just wanted to know why. And I said, well,
Rocking away.
You never know what's in the ground until you start digging. So, you know, who knows?
especially up in the Whalen area, but I just thought it was kind of funny.
You can't straighten the line out now because I can drive that in my sleep and avoid all the manholes.
Muscle memory.
Okay, easement allowance, Barb.
Yeah, this is one where I might toss this towards Rob. It was just his eyes on it when he first came into town. So Rob, if you want to explain your thought maybe behind it.
Yeah, so the issue that, and this is even from my own experience, it really comes into the current regs, current bylaw doesn't allow a sewer service in an easement across someone else's property. That to me creates situations of hardship. So if we have a resident who's near sewer, but on a septic that's failed, and they had the opportunity to connect to sewer via an easement over someone's property, I think we're doing a disservice to residents who could otherwise save quite a bit of money by not having to redo a septic, or perhaps even own a property that can't support a septic, and in worst case, they end up on a tight tank. So I think allowing that type of user to connect to sewer via an easement would, and I don't know how many instances we'll run into, but I'm sure they'll crop up every now and then. I think it would be a good thing for those property owners. I'm not trying to open it up to everybody connecting through everybody else's property via easement. I guess I kind of gave this a little bit of thought and would reserve it for those owners who basically desperately need to connect to sewer. For instance, the Mass Ave properties that Mr. Esposito had done that connection. That's a prime example. So that's kind of what I'm looking for is to maybe include those in that, give that capability for someone to connect.
John, what do you think? You've been,
I would like to see the, I guess I'm in agreement with Rob. I'd like to see that relaxed to some degree. I mean, as a property owner, if I'm willing to grant my neighbor an easement, I think the town should allow it.
Brett, what do you think in the business?
Well, again, what John said, actually, if a neighbor is willing to grant an easement, again, we're here to offer a service. And why would we deny somebody who officially would have access once that friendly neighbor allows it and it's in writing and all on the up and up? I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Michael?
I agree. I mean, I think if, you know, again, like everybody's saying, if your neighbor's going to allow you to do that, but I think it should be on a case by case basis.
Yes.
Was saying like the properties on Mass Ave, you know, if there's no way you can't cross over somebody's property because your house is behind theirs, then that would be a special case where, you know, we could allow that to happen.
Right, leave the door open, but leave it to a vote.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to see this be one of those regs that say the sewer commission may allow versus shall, because there's always the potential, I'm sure, for it to be abused in some way. There definitely needs to be a need demonstrated.
Barb, I know you're.
Yeah, I did speak with council about it, that because it is a part of our bylaw, not just regulations, that we have that restriction in place. And his suggestion the whole reason it was put into place was kind of a snaked in easement to a house behind a house. And so that was when the commission originally updated that bylaw to say no easements. For council, his recommendation is to allow easements in the instance where the property has failed Title V or cannot install that type of system and needs to connect to sewer. So he thought it should have that clarification, that it wouldn't just be a house behind a house, because we've already got that in the books, and to try to withdraw it is not a good idea when it did deny someone connection to sewer.
Mike,
John and Mike took the words right out of my mouth, case by case. So,
and I gotta say, I appreciate Rob you looking at this. Again, we're a utility company that's trying to service our customers in our service area. I wouldn't limit it to Mass Ave. I mean, I would do it all through the town if needed. But I also agree with what our lawyer said, that it should be on a case-by-case basis. But it does open it up, and it makes us more caring for our customers. I mean, it's kind of awful if you're living on Mass Ave and you live behind somebody and you can't get sewer. It's just not right. And it is 2021, guys. I mean, it's time to, if you look at the citizens and the growth in Lunenburg, I mean, it's the right thing to do. So do we need a vote on this, Barb, or you want to start working on you guys, you and Rob want to start working on the policy?
Yeah, I will. And I want to involve council on how that would be written.
Yeah,
So,
it has to be written good. Yeah.
back
Okay.
from him and present it again.
Rob, thank you for bringing that up, because that's been an issue for a while, and the easements in Lunenburg, so I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Bob, next one.
This, the next one is about the reconnection fee on our connection charge policy. Again, this was one that Rob came with fresh set of eyes and wasn't necessarily in favor of it. So Rob, I'll turn it over to you again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, again, I think this came up recently, and that's, Barb, it came to my attention. We currently charge customers, whether they're existing or not. Well, let me give you an example. John, if your house was connected to sewer and you had your fire and you had to tear it down, and then somebody has to reconnect to sewer, we currently charge them $1,000 to connect to a service they were previously provided. So in this day and age where that does happen, or a little old cottage comes down to have a new house put up and it had sewer, and we charge them $1,000 to reconnect to something that was already paid for. I guess the way I look at it is, if a property is serviced by sewer, unless they're installing a new service, why are we charging them again $1,000? I mean, I guess I understand an administrative fee to inspect it, to have a record of what was done. They need to still apply to us to do the work, but to me, $1,000 seems really steep. Or we're calling it a reconnection charge. What does that really pay for? I mean, they had a connection, so unless I would still be in favor of charging a connection fee if a developer or a builder came in and just wanted to do a new sewer and go out to the street and tie into the main. Sure, that's a connection charge. But when you're just cutting plumbing and then retying into existing plumbing, I don't know why it's $1,000. So Barb and I had this discussion, and I mean, I don't feel terribly strongly about it. If the commission felt like, it's worth that for whatever reason, I mean, I'm okay with that, but it just kind of caught my attention that why are we charging people $1,000 for this?
Rob, when you looked at this, I know we looked at it before, 6-7 years ago, last time we were on the commission as well. And I'm against the reconnection fees. And in fact, we had some circumstances back when we were on the board back in the 2013 or 14 era that actually happened. And again, just would affect John and Mike. You have property on the town sewer. If you pay your connection fee already and you are remodeling a house and you got a disconnect while you remodel a house. I don't think it's right to be recharged again, but that's, again, my opinion. But let's go around the horn with it. Brett, what do you think?
Well, when I read that, I thought it was a ridiculous fee myself. I could see some nominal charge, as Rob says, to be able to make sure it's recorded and so forth. I mean, something nominal like $100 to cover Rob's time or whoever it is that needs to do that, Barb's time.
Well, I think when they pull the building permit, Rob, right now, well, we're gonna use John's house as an example. When they pull the building permit, that's out of the building permit, I would think, isn't it?
No.
The plumber's fees?
No, I mean, this would be, outside of the house. Say a building was torn down, new foundation, and we run new sewer service on the site to connect to the old. That's the type I'm looking at. The building inspector is not going to look at that and inspect it. That would fall under my guys. So I, like John said, and I had stated, I think, or Brett even said it, I think a fee is justified. I just think $1,000 is not. And, if we had just a flat inspection fee and administrative fee for this, and maybe a box to check off on our permit that said this is what it was and this is the fee, I think that's fair.
Okay, I agree with that. Brett, does that make you feel better?
Yeah, it works for me.
Mike, no?
Yeah, I agree with Rob. I think it should be adjusted. It's kind of steep.
And Michael?
Yeah, I agree as well. Now, this is only anything outside of the house, right? Outside of the house from the foundation to the street. This is
Yeah.
nothing inside.
Anything on their actual service.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. There should be some kind of fee for you guys to come out in your time to look at it. But $1,000 is pretty high.
Do you want to set that number now, or do you want to give us some thought, Rob?
If I could just interrupt here, I probably should have already recused myself. So I'm going to just step away and you guys can do what you'd like to do.
Did that $1,000 hurt, John?
I think we should go to 15,000, but that's my.
I'll abstain from commenting on that.
Rob,
I don't have a number. I guess, Barb, maybe you and I should just talk about it real quick and come up with a number to propose to the commission. I mean, in the back of my head, I'm thinking $100 is fair. You can consider that. I don't think we'd be too far off with that.
No, I agree. $100 is good. Guys, anybody else? Brett,
Yeah, that's where I was.
Mike? No?
I really don't care about the number. Whatever you come up with is good. Just 1,000 steep, that's all.
Michael?
Is that just for you guys to inspect? That's no work, nothing, just for you guys to come out and inspect it and say it's okay?
Yeah,
And
it's
administration.
right. So it's a little bit of Barb's time, taking in a permit, my time going out to look at it, perhaps talking to the contractor. It's minimal. But fair at the same time.
Yeah, as long as it's fair to both parties, the homeowner and to the town, I think $100 is good. But as long as it's covering, our time and it's fair for both parties.
And let's make that effective. Go ahead, Barb.
150 is ringing in my head because when we had to study our connection charge, there was inspections, there's the usage, just all the different things. I remember 150 was like the administration fee. So I would just try to have it coincide. I'll have to look and see what it actually was, but if we can have it agree with that, then we've got a little more basis in picking a number.
Yeah, we're not going to vote on it tonight. So like I said, if you and Rob can look at what it really entails. So I mean, whatever you recommend.
Okay.
But I think what we got to do is we're going to make this policy change, make it effective a certain date. So there's no, you don't have people 4 months ago saying, hey, I connected twice or something. I don't think that happened too often, but I think we're all on the same page. Hey, John, you can come out of the closet there now. So as John's making his way back, Any other questions on that? Okay, seeing none. Expansion of the S sewer district. What's that one, Barb?
Based on the question that we just recently dealt with the 5 Chestnut Street, again, I think it was a conversation with council that we have in there that the sewer commission, has to recommend, or not even has to recommend, but it comes before the commission before it goes to the town meeting vote.
Yep.
Just putting in a line that needed to be made clearer, obviously, when the last discussion happened, that by recommending expansion at town meeting has no impact or any impact on the future projects that may happen at that location. That it's just a recommendation for the expansion, but that the change of use or increased usage would be dealt with at a later date.
So is our policy still in effect for that we can't enable or,
Right.
okay, so that's still the policy.
If you want it to be, it's there. So it
Yeah,
was just clarifying because it seemed to be of a major confusion to people outside of the commission that we weren't approving the project that they were potentially bringing forward, that the commission was just approving expansion of the sewer service area at the time. So I thought if it was clearer spelled out in the regs, then we would avoid confusion.
Okay, hold on, John's texting me. I gotta tell him to come back. Where did it go? Okay, you should see John in a second. Anyone have any questions on that, Brett?
I don't. But I agree with Barb. It's not a bad idea to make it a little more clear.
Well, I mean, we were put under the gun. It seemed pretty clear to me, but I understand now we do have it clearer. But no, thank you, Bob, for that, doing that exercise. Michael?
I agree with Barb. And what she's saying, if we make it a little clearer, I think would be good.
John, we're talking about the SSA clarification as far as what our policy is.
All right, well, I had stepped out, so I'm not sure what's already been said.
Okay, we're agreeing that our policy now is made clearer, but we still don't enable development, the same policy that we had before.
Okay, yes, I think it needs, you asked me if I think it should be made clearer.
Barbara, you want to explain what you did?
Yeah, I mean, John, yes, that's what we're just trying to clarify. So there isn't the confusion that we had at the meeting in
Okay,
April.
yes, please. I think, yes.
You know, anything this year, as we go through these things, anything that we can make clearer and simpler for all of us, like the budget, that would help us a lot. At the end of the next budget season coming up, I'd really like to get everybody involved in it and make it simpler. We can call it the simpler form for all of us. But again, it's going to be an interesting and probably a great year for this. Okay, Bob, what do you got next?
Did everybody get to speak?
Oh.
The other ones are either just a typo. I had a typo in the grease trap regs, or the deduct meter policy and the Article 2, where we clarified what help the drain layers would get from the DPW, and the 4-to-1 addition to the connection fee. Those were all approved by everybody, but just had not been incorporated or accepted. So the rest of them are all either previously approved or typos that I just want to repair. So if anybody wants more details, let me know. But
You're gonna put all that into our next town meeting?
Regs don't have to be approved at town meeting. They just have to go through the 2 public hearings and then official acceptance. Once the 2 public hearings are done,
Okay.
the vote is to accept them.
Okay. Any questions on those things, guys? And again, as we get going, we'll get a definition of them, but
Right. And I should say that both the easement and the sewer service area expansion would have to be at town meeting because
Town
those are in the bylaw.
So any questions on the other policy things? And Mike and I probably wrote the policy on grease traps. So I don't want to talk about grease traps anymore, but
They live on.
they live on, yeah. Any questions on that? We're gonna move on. Howard Street, 40B proposal. This is interesting, guys. Bob, give it to you.
Well, we've just gotten the heads up basically from Adam Burney in the planning board about the Howard Street project. They are under the belief that the developer will be coming forward to propose a 40B. And he was just trying to give us the heads up to consider. 40B does not have to follow town policies or town board rulings. It's just the ZBA that can mandate. So we could be forced to include them in the sewer service area, which they are not currently. This is the one way up Chase Road and up the hill. So it'd have to come down Howard to West Townsend Road to Chase Road and either go down Beale Street to connect to Leominster or straight down Mass Ave to connect to Fitchburg. So all of that would have to, be taken into consideration, both in capacity and rates that we pay to those towns. Anything that's of substantial usage also will need to be approved by Leominster and Fitchburg. So I want to check with council if we really have no say on that, because we're dealing with IMAs here that, I don't know, Leominster and Fitchburg would not have a say either, as the way I understand 40B. So I need to get that clarified, but Adam will be looking for our responses when it is formally announced. We usually have 30 days to respond. So just wanted to give everyone a heads up to think about it.
Also,
Barbara.
I talked to Rob on this, and I think Rob and Rob, I don't put words in your mouth, but if it happens, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a while. So there's a lot of things they got to do to turn this into a 40B to get it approved. So I wouldn't worry about it today. But it's
Question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I wanted a little clarification on this. Are we talking about running a line down Mass Ave or down all these streets?
Do you
Like
do you
running a new main, essentially they'd be running.
Yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rob.
essentially, what they would have to do is, I mean, it's going to be a big, expensive system. It's going to include, pumping and force main and gravity sewer. I haven't seen a proposal on how the sewer would be run to them, but it would be sewer and water. So you have a lot to consider on what you would want to see and request from the developer. It's a lot of sewer. If you read the email, and I forget the details of it, but he's talking about just in the 40B, 200 units, and then still developing 100 subdivision lots. So I'm speculating that he's going to try and include the house lots in the sewer and water. Why wouldn't why would you not? Again, I'm speculating. I don't know that for a fact because I haven't seen plans on it yet. What I can say is the commission should strongly consider requiring the developer to hire a peer review consultant of the commission's choice to look at the capacity of our system, look at all the technical aspects of what this development does to our system. And if there's other improvements needed, they should be, provided by the developer. So, and I'm only saying this now because I know Dave says it's going to be a while before it comes to us, but once it does, it's a quick process. I believe we only have 30 days to get back with comments. So once it's in, and once it goes through its phases and gets to that part of it where the ZBA has it in their hands, we need to move quickly. So we want to start thinking about this now.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I mean, I just started thinking about it, but what I would, just throwing food for thought out there, one thing I would require on top of what Rob just said, which I'm in agreement with, I would want to make sure that where that sewer runs, I would like it to go through past all that commercial district as much as possible, down Route 13. And require that the main and that the system can handle additional connections on either side of that stretch as needed, because it gives us an opportunity to have more customers, inevitably creating more income for a line that's we didn't have to pay to install.
I think what you gotta look at, and I know I talked to Rob about this as well, we have to see the drawings first.
Of
And,
course.
Now, if you look at what happened over on Meadowbrook, of the trailer park, Bob, that was done through an emergency thing as well. That's a dedicated line from the trailer park right into our system. It passes all the houses that we can't tie into. So I don't know how this would work under a 40B. Rob, do you have any idea? It may be a dedicated line from that project to it.
You know, we can ask for whatever we want. You know, he's still a developer. He's still, the way the 40B works is he still has to get all his state permits for the project. That doesn't change. On the local level, anything, just say it's a zoning regulation, a setback to a property line, they basically have to ask for a waiver for everything they're not going to meet on the local level. So I don't know if it's in our bylaw and they're not going to meet it, then they have to ask for a waiver and the ZBA has to consider that and either approve or deny it. So I don't know how that works in this particular instance on, you know, do you have to, if you install a new sewer, do you have to provide capacity for future connections? If that's in our bylaw and he doesn't want to do it, he has to ask for a waiver, and we can push back against that. So if that's what the commission wants, you have to be clear and stated, because of course, he's not gonna, any developer who's, you know, trying to make a profit is not going to offer to upsize things on a project that size. So we're gonna have to, if that's what we want, we'd have to push for it.
And Brett, you and I are on the same page. Anything that where sewer goes through, I would like to have everybody join in if they wanted to. But again, that would also have to require calculations and stuff as well. So like I say, it's not an easy, I want this, it's a lot to consider. And when the time comes, when we come to the plate, we're gonna have to make some tough decisions. It's just a matter of when they're gonna come to the plate or if they're gonna come to the plate. I mean, I don't know. Rob, I don't know if it's 50-50 or what's gonna happen right now, just preparing for it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this one. I mean, honestly, just from my own experience, it seems like the siting of the development compared to what they're looking for, and you know, the state's looking for in a 40B, as far as, you know, being accessible to major routes and things like that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'm not the one approving it, and so we'll see. That's the first step in this is. The subsidizing agency looks at the site and determines if the site can be approved, and then we'll know more.
Yeah, there are obstacles I gotta jump through, so.
Yeah, my only concern is that I think we just need to always keep this sort of visible to ourselves and know that's going on in the background, because it just seems like sometimes, and it's not a judgment one way or the other, but sometimes a 40B project can take on and take off pretty quickly, and move pretty quickly. So we just sort of need to keep it in the back of our minds, you know, once a month or something. I don't know.
And actually, Bob, why don't we put this on the agenda for further notice? Let's just call it the Howard Street 40B proposal. Just to keep it on the.
I agree.
So if we
Uh,
have
one-
it, thumbs up.
One additional thought, as it begins to progress, move forward, if it looks like it actually might happen, I'm thinking we may want to discuss bringing it to council to make sure that our interests are covered in whatever capacity we can cover them.
I can assure you, the council will be totally involved in not only what we're doing, but what other departments are doing as well.
And maybe ahead of time before we have our 30-day window.
Yeah, the 40B project, by the way, this is at the old Arrow Farms Estates. This is where they wanted to run water to, you might have saw it on the news recently in Lunenburg. So this is another way for them to try to get that development going, which is a pretty big development, if I understand. It's 200 and something houses.
Hmm.
You got it, Brett. I understood. Any other questions on this?
No, thank you.
Okay, let's move on. CTE, Chad Empey contract.
Right. I'm just changing the reference to Chad Empey too, because we always refer to it as Empey, but everything that Al does is always CTE. So it might be easier just to reference that. We're coming up to year 2. I did send my recommended changes. Dave, I know we discussed the jetting again, but when I looked at the hourly, it's like section 2 of their contract, and the hourly services are for, it just says the following services may be billed separately from and in addition to the flat fee. So I think we're okay adding in the jetting here, because it would be a billable service. What I'm trying to do is incorporate both SSOs, which are the sanitary service overflows, and the jetting, because we reference them. They're in as a part of our maintenance plan that was, composed with everyone's assistance. And when we were going out for the RFP, Heather was very concerned that the maintenance referenced, or the RFP referenced what we're asking for in maintenance, and the contract referenced what we had in the RFP. I'm just trying to keep it consistent so that when we, after year 3, hopefully, we go out for bid again and we need a new contract. It's just always incorporated because it's part of our maintenance plan. So I sent it to everyone. The changes are in red or yellow highlight. Just changing the dates. I made the contract amount be a yearly amount. The other one was a 9-month amount, but I'm not at this point changing the rate itself. So if you could take a look and see if you're okay with those changes.
Stop. And so the only thing that I was concerned about, and I'm going to let you and Rob do it, is cross contaminating our maintenance program with our contract. Like I said, we worked very, very hard on their contract during a very, very tough year. And we're trying to solve a lot of problems from from the existing contractor that we have. So I don't want to fall into that trap again. So if you guys feel comfortable doing that, I don't have a problem, because if you have to go out to bid in 24 hours, we could say, here, this is what we want you to bid. So, and again, that's my opinion, but let's bring it around the horn. And Michael, no, we're going to get you last so you get familiar with what happened. Brett, do you have any comments?
I just, I agree that it should be in there.
Michael?
I agree too.
Okay. John?
I'd like to see it in there.
Okay. And Michael, no. I know you may not, but it's part of the maintenance thing.
Yeah, well, not being, familiar with it or, up and running on it, I can agree with the rest of the council at this point.
And I agree too, along with the stipulation that we don't mess it up somewhere along the way. Just keep it organized. And I got
Go back to where we were.
exactly. I have that fear, and I have to admit, I want to thank Empey and Al for doing a fantastic job. And that contract becomes effective. I made a mistake, guys. I thought it was starting September, but it starts in June 1st.
July 1st.
July 1st. So if you guys remember last year, they filled in for us, and then we went out to bid and got a contract in September. But that was until the end of the fiscal year. So I thought it was a year. So apologize for that. Any other questions on MP? Okay, let's move on. Elizabeth Street. I guess Rob's going to update us on this one.
Yeah, so I did end up getting a couple of quotes. I was waiting on one from Green Mountain. They were quite a bit different. National Water Main Cleaning Company was around $18,000. Green Mountain came in with a little bit of a different approach because they have different equipment, but to get to the same goal, their labor and equipment, I think, is for what they're estimating, it's about $6,500, and then the grout they charge per gallon. So just trying to get a clarification on that, but they'll be under 10 grand. So I'm going to move ahead with them and have them do the work. They said it's a small project. They can squeeze it in when they have time. So it may get done fairly soon. I don't have that information from them yet, but in speaking with him a number of times, I'm fairly confident they're, good fit for the job. He came out and he looked at it. He opened manhole covers. So I was pleased he was that interested in the project, and he had questions. So I'm confident in them, and I'm going to go ahead and put them out on the project. So I got to sign that. I'll sign that proposal with them, and Barb's already working on getting a PO for it. So we'll be good to go.
So the question I have, and thank you, Rob, do we have to sign anything? Is there a certain amount that we have to sign over? Or are we just saying, $10,000? Is that a thing that we need the board approval? Are you taking it out of the maintenance money that we issue or out of working capital?
I was gonna say,
That'll be coming, Barb, correct me if I'm wrong, that's going to come out of the current I&I line, because that's what this is.
Okay, so anything, do we have a policy as far as the authorization we can spend up to, or did we change that?
If it
well, we
turns
already
out,
approved this, didn't we? I'm sorry, go ahead.
right, well, we didn't have the monetary
We
amount, but
didn't
if
have the monetary amount. Yeah.
Right. I think if it's over 10,000, we would like your approval, I think.
Rob, how do you feel about that?
I think that's what we kind of discussed that at a previous meeting, I thought.
Yeah,
that
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I don't want to, it's not just open the wallet and spend the money. I'll certainly come back to the commission when things are going to be more. But I think this one is, even by procurement, it's just, get your quotes, and it's under 10 grand. So this is an easy one.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure we're all covered. That's all, especially you. So, any questions from anyone from the board?
No.
No.
Where's Elizabeth Street?
I was just going to say, Mike, you may have a question on it. Rob, you want to give Mike a little explanation of what we're doing?
Yeah,
No, I'm familiar with Elizabeth Street, unfortunately.
Yeah, do you know the problem that's over there?
Well, I know forever we've been trying to deal with this, so yeah, I'm pretty much know what's going on.
Yep. We have a pretty good study that shows some services in the main section of 18-inch main where we're getting some I&I, and so we're finally getting to hitting some of that.
There we go. Sounds familiar.
Doesn't it?
Thank you for your due diligence there, Rob, getting this rolling and taking care of it.
Yep.
Michael, no, this is like a time machine. You go back and
No kidding. Sounds so familiar.
and you say, is that problem still there? Really? Okay. Go ahead.
Just so you know, too, the chance that this contractor could find something at that particular residence that we've been talking about for eons. We're going to wait and see after they have completed it, because the next step is to pursue 33 Elizabeth and try to get their agreement that it has to be repaired. But Rob's I think we're just gonna see if the contractor can see anything from their side and do anything from their side before we proceed, if that's okay with the commission.
Right.
I agree. That's
Michael,
I agree with that.
Mike,
Makes sense to me.
John,
Yep, it's fine with me.
it makes sense with me. Make it so, number one.
All right.
The other question that I'd like to put on it, is there a way you could send a letter to the sewer commission in Leominster and request a meeting in regards to the Elizabeth Street and the Whalen District about maybe a joint grant to look at this problem? And Rob, if you could be there, that would be great.
Yeah, certainly.
At your convenience.
Mhm.
But let's get the ball rolling in Leominster. Okay, Brett Ramsden brought up a discussion topic, and let's talk about the meeting time for our meetings. As you know, we've been doing them on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock via Zoom. That may be changing, maybe not, but it's definitely going to change somewhere along the way. So Brett would like to know if we can do them at 5:30 or 6. And Brett, I'll give this to you since it's your category.
Well, I mean, when I joined the commission, the meeting was at 7. Getting home and getting ready wasn't a big problem. Honestly, I've got, like most contractors, Mike can attest to this. You know, I'm busy. I've got the busiest year I've probably ever had in business, and a lot of my projects are Weston, Brookline, this summer for a couple months in Wellesley. It's a trip to get back early enough to, you know, I don't need to be showered, but you know, traffic is back, by the way. So a lot of it is. It's not back in full, but it's coming.
It will
It's
be.
getting there.
So you know, I need to pay attention to my business as well. So I know it's once every 2 weeks, but it seems to come up quickly. So
So Brett, put a motion out there. What would you like?
you know, I don't want to put anybody out. I know Barb, it extends her day a lot, extends Rob's day. I just looking for a little bit of extra time. It doesn't have to be 6. 6 would be easier, but I'm okay with 5:30. I can just make that work. It gives me that extra half an hour.
So let's put a motion out there for discussion, or you just want to go with the discussion?
All right, I'm putting a motion out there to change our meeting time to 5:30 on the designated Tuesdays.
Okay, second that
I second that.
for discussion. Let's go with discussion. John?
I mean, I can be, I can be flexible with this. I appreciate that it can be difficult for Brett and Mike to get back in time, knowing how difficult it's been to get contractors to work on my house. So you know, I'll go with what the majority feels is best on this one.
Mike, no?
I'm gonna be a little greedy on this one. I like 6 o'clock. First of all, I like to see Brett showered when he comes on. And it wouldn't interfere with my mountain biking, so.
Yeah, Zoom has a sense of smell now. You know.
We're gonna be in person soon, buddy.
So if it were 5:30, it's fine, but at 6 would actually work a little better for me, so also, but.
Michael?
Either one, 5:30 or 6 would work. It is a little bit of a rush to get home and try to get on the meeting for 5 o'clock. So 5:30 or 6 would be, I'm open to either one of those times. And again, I don't, you know, Barb's there all day and she's got to wait there for us for a meeting too. So we kind of want to be sensitive to what she's got going on too.
You know, I'd like to make a recommendation and see what you guys think. I'd like to go to 5:30 for the month of June and then go to 6 o'clock in July. Would that be a problem with anyone, just to see how the 5:30 thing really works? Any talk about that?
Yeah.
And that would work for me.
Yeah.
Mike, would that be a problem for you?
Me, like, no.
Mike, no.
No, I can make it work.
And the only reason why I said, we gotta be flexible until we know what's going on in the town. And Rob, I know you're gonna be making a lot of the selectmen meetings at 7 o'clock on the same night. So we're trying to cater to you as well. So I think we just need to see a couple more weeks go through and then we find our own niche. I mean, that's the way I feel, but I'll go with the board. It doesn't matter. It's not like I'm going anywhere. Rob, do you have any comment on it?
No, I mean, on the odd night that I do have to attend a selectmen's meeting, if I know I've got sewer commission, I can certainly work something out with Heather and, her placing me on the agenda if need be. I mean, I can make anything work, and I know, there's, contractors in the group, and especially now, this is their, this is go time, and daylight's hours are being wasted. I'm sure they're sitting there itching, knowing they could be working. So I'm certainly open to anything, and I don't, as a commission, don't center it around me. You folks decide what's best for you.
Barb? No, go
sorry.
ahead, Brett. No, go ahead, Brett.
Just a little side thought. Maybe we could purposely structure our agenda to have, things that may involve Rob more earlier in the agenda on purpose. Giving him the opportunity to bail when he needs to.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's certainly an option too. I don't have to stay on for the whole meeting, every meeting.
No, we know that. Barb, what's your thoughts?
I can go either way also. This is a sewer commission meeting, and if it's better for the members to meet at 6, that's fine. I'll deal with it.
So why don't we do this then? The next meeting is going to be on June 8th. That would be a selectman meeting as well, if I remember right. Is that correct? Because tonight's is no selectman meeting. So
Do they meet don't they meet every week?
no, usually the last month we take over the spot at the what do you call it, the town hall.
Okay.
So I would say then let's change that. Let's go to 6 o'clock starting next week, the next one. Everyone agree with that? That'll give everybody more time. And Rob, you hit the point. We're all contractors, and the daylight time is very valuable to all of us right now. And, hopefully we're all going to be getting busy as we go along. So I would put a motion out. Well, I can't do the motion. Brett, you want to modify your motion?
I'd like to modify my motion to continue all further meetings at 6 p.m.
I do have a second on that.
Second that.
And Brett, you withdrew your first motion, correct?
I'm sorry, I withdraw my original motion.
Okay. All right, so discussion, seeing none, roll call vote. John?
For 6, aye.
Michael Null?
Aye.
Brett Ransom?
Aye.
Mikey Zavakis?
Aye.
And I for myself. Bob, can you make sure that PAC TV and everybody knows that we're changing our time to 6 o'clock? Okay, minutes for 5/11. Everybody get their minutes? Looking for a motion to approve the minutes on 5/11. Mike Norton, you weren't here, so you will abstain.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes on May 11th.
Second.
Second,
Second, any discussion? All in favor? John,
aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and I for myself. Business managers report.
All right. Sorry. First was we wanted to invite Adam to a meeting, and he is available on the 8th. Of course, I told him it would be 5:30. I will tell him it would be at 6. So I just checked, but so it was a chance just for Mike Nault's purposes, just for the commission to meet Adam and for Adam to meet Mike Nault and any other members that he hasn't met yet. So he will be there as long as 6 o'clock is okay. He had said if it was remote, it was okay. So because I think he has another meeting, I will have to find out what the time is. We've got 2 invoices for the Fitchburg and Leominster usages. And basically, Mike Nault, just to recap, we've gone over to the flow meter usage now for both of these. So their amounts are actually the amounts I have provided them based on flow meter readings. Fitchburg's is 20,046.87, and that is for the March 26th through April 25th period. And Leominster's is 116,591.55, and that is for the 12/26/20 through March 25th, 21 period. But again, both of the amounts mirror what we have provided them based on their rates. So I'm assuming they'd be okay. Just wanted to run it by you guys.
Yeah, it's okay with me, Barb. I'm just curious, and I guess it doesn't really matter. Lemonster's, how does that compare? How's that compare to last year's at the same time?
Last year's.
Very high, John.
If you don't know that off the top of your head, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that now that they're actually using.
Given it's another dry season too.
Right, although we did have some really torrential rains, and that's what is included with this
Right.
115, but it's been a drier spring. So the more recent one will be less. Last year we spent 309, 100%, and this year it's 362.
Okay.
But that is only with flow meters kicking in, I think for 3 quarters. So it could have, annualized, it could have been higher.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob?
Meaning it's higher with the flow meter readings.
Right.
We kind of anticipated that way back though, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And once
increased our
Elizabeth
budget.
Street straightened out.
Rob's gonna save us hundreds and thousands of dollars. Okay, what else, Barb?
My notes. I was hoping I was going to be able to get you the year-to-date budget complete. My sources come from both the bills that I pay, but then I also have to run Munis, and I just wasn't able to get to the Munis numbers. But our current budget for year-to-date is looking pretty good. I can send it out. I just want to make it complete before I send it out. Our total expenses to date is $909,000, almost $910,000. Our revenues show 927, 133, and those do not include this past Friday we sent out our 4th quarter bills. So the revenues are up and expenses are within range, right? With the 909 figure, we still have 106,000 in expenses that were budgeted, not yet expended. So we're still looking good, even with Rob's Elizabeth Street repairs.
When does the budget expire? Is it a new budget starts June 1st?
June 30th
June
is the
30th.
end of our fiscal year.
We still got a way to go.
And I will send it out as soon as I get my Munis numbers in there. I'm working, is that all right? You want me to move on?
One question on the budget, when we get this done, when the cutoffs come, I want everyone to take a look at it. And what information do we need as a commission that's easy obtainable, that's probably not on the budget? For example, last year, you want a comparison, we used to do them, my corporation, where you would have actuals, last year's budget, you know what I mean? So you know what you're doing. Something like that, maybe. Think about it is what I'm trying to say. What information you need real quick, instead of looking at all those numbers, just one category where we are versus last year. You know, last year is very important information we should have. So just a recommendation, but we'll throw it out there. Okay, Barb.
All right. At the last meeting, you had requested that we get an answer to Paula's question from April 13th, and I did speak with council about it. I had sent you the draft council response, and he wanted Brian to go back and make it official because we should not share a draft council opinion outside of the commission. So he's got Brian. I responded to a voicemail from Brian. I sent him another email, but we'll have it. I will get the response out to Paula and Adam and Heather as soon as I get it from Mead, Tollerman, and Costa.
And please send a copy of that to everybody as well.
Yep.
Commission. Okay.
Okay, and 410 Hollis Road, Rob got a request today, actually, for a sewer extension. And so we will be putting that on the next agenda as well to look at it.
Good.
And then that's it for me, just Carl's gift. I just want to have everybody come in and sign off and you can get it out to Carl. That's all I've got.
That's a secret, right? That's a surprise, right? Okay,
Well, it's a secret until Carl watches the YouTube video.
I was just thinking that.
Why I kept it. We don't have.
the next line that we have is members request for future meetings and our council hours. Our council policy is still going to be in effect, but I encourage you, if you want to go to see the attorney, make an appointment. Barbara, you send that out to everybody when there's appointments.
Right, we don't have council, the council hours were last week, so I'm awaiting the June date.
But I am looking forward to having him come to our next meeting just to introduce himself. And if you guys have any questions at all, there's a good time to talk to him. He's a good guy. Any comments on that or questions? Okay. Next one would be public comment. I'm looking for any public comment out there. Seeing none. Barb, you have any?
Nope, I do not.
Looking for board comment. Anybody from the board have any comments?
To be more of a question,
Okay.
Mike Nault, if Elizabeth Street's not resolved in the last year, will you run again?
Well, I don't know if I'll make that commitment, but it seems like this meeting's coming to an end and it doesn't feel like 11 o'clock at night. So I don't know. It's pretty good.
Kind of still up here. I'm looking at it. And we got a lot of things to cover tonight. So guys, thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, John. You all done, John?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mike? No.
Yes, I'd just like to say it's good to be back. I'm looking forward to
Have
it.
ya.
So,
That sounds like a yes to my question.
well.
It sure did.
Brett?
I have no comment other than to say, glad to have you back, Mike. And thank you, Dave, for re-upping for another 3 years.
Right.
Congratulations.
Yes. Okay, Mike?
Yeah, congratulations to you, Dave, and congratulations to Mike. Mike, I look forward to working with you guys, working with you the next couple of years. So hopefully we can move forward and do the best we can for Lunenburg.
I heard that a couple of years. Yeah.
And my public comment is that I'm very excited to work with you guys. Tonight was the first night of a new wave of freshness and, or not freshness, but refreshing to see that we have a good working board. But also, I just want to make a quick comment that I want to thank Carl Luck for his 15 years of service on the sewer. Today's the first day of Carl's new retirement, so I hope he's enjoying it. And again, I'm also glad that we have Rob and Barbara and Jane doing their job. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys over the next year. And let's kick some butt and have some good time too. And like Mike says, you know, a vote for him is a flush for you. So I'm looking in the sewer. Okay, I'm looking for upcoming meetings. June 8th is going to be at, what do we say, 7 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6.
6 o'clock is going to be done remotely through Zoom. June 29th, we're going to call a 6 o'clock meeting through Zoom, but town hall may be required. We're just not sure yet. So just by a roll call vote, if we did the town hall, would anybody have a problem about attending if the CDC and mass emergency is lifted? Does anyone have any doubts about going to the town hall for a meeting? So if you have any doubts, just raise your hand. And I completely understand if you do, so don't take it. And that's including Barb and Rob and Jane. So anybody have any concerns about doing a live meeting?
I don't have any concerns meeting at town hall. I will not be there on the 29th.
Okay, so that makes no sense at all, but I understand what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I have no issue with meeting in person, but I just will not be at the meeting on the 29th for other reasons.
Because your daughter's getting married, is that correct?
Yes.
So congratulations to you and your daughter. And We'll give her a coupon for a sewer in Lunenburg if you like. Okay, guys, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So motioned.
Second,
I said,
Seconded.
any discussion? Seeing none. John,
Aye.
Michael, no,
Good night, Lunenburg.
Mike,
aye.
and Brett,
Aye.
and Rob, Jane, and Bob. Thank you very much. That's an aye for myself. And good night, everybody. Thank you very much. We'll see
Have a
you.
good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.